Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Turn the Page Books. My name is Paige. I just recently started my YouTube journey, so I will be posting videos every Tuesday with all the bookish content. Today we're gonna do a January reading wrap up. I read 8 books this month. Let's go through them. The first book I read is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is a fantasy novel that's light on the fantasy and more magical realism. It follows 2 journalists who are kind of competing with each other, but there's a threat of war that's happening. The setting of the story kind of reminded me a little bit of historical fiction, like it's not set in present day. I thought this was good because it wasn't too complex. It didn't have a ton of characters to follow, so I found it really easy to read and I thought it was really interesting. The second book is Ruthless Vows, which I've seen mixed reviews on, so I'm excited to read it and see what I think. I ordered the UK editions from Mercari, so I'm so excited to get those in because they're really pretty. The second book I also listened to on audio. It's called Lights Out by Navessa Allen. This is a dark romance and it was a really fun, wild read. It's about a nurse who goes on TikTok and she's into mask talk. So it's like men wearing masks and like kind of thirst trap posts. He notices her and they just kind of go on this wild adventure together. There was a lot of spice, but there was also plot too that drove the story. And there's another one coming out. I can't remember when it's coming out, but I think it's called Caught Up. So I'm excited to read that because it kind of left off open-ended where you could add more to the story. And I don't read a ton of dark romance. Again, I've been like reading a lot of different genres the last 6 months, figuring out what I like. And I do like a little bit of everything, I'm realizing. It's been a really fun journey for me. Then I went back to my classic thriller and I read If You Tell a Lie by Lucinda. She's a go-to author for me. I love a lot of her books. I've read quite a few. My favorite is Saving Noah by her, and If You Tell a Lie was a little bit more suspenseful and like thriller based than Saving Noah. It's a dual point of view following 4 girls who are in a friendship. It goes back and forth between when they were teenagers at camp and then present day. Next up I read The Troop by Nick Cutter. This is my first Nick Cutter book, but I've heard a lot of things about it. I am not super into gore horror, but I decided to give this one a try because I heard it's really good. And it is really good. It's just very disturbing. One you can't eat while you read. It follows a Boy Scout troop who goes to this island every summer for a trip. Someone shows up on shore who has some disease and things kind of go wild from there. I do recommend looking at the triggers before diving into this one. There were maybe like 1 or 2 parts I had to skip over a little bit. But overall, it was a really good read. It was written really well. This was our book club pick of the month, Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. This is a historical fiction novel about a midwife from the 1700s. It's inspired by a true story. So I thought that was really interesting. It doesn't really tell you that it's inspired by a true story until the very end in the author's note. But I do think going into it, it's important to know because it makes the story much more interesting. It is a thick book. It's a little bit long, but I do find that it was worth it. There were mixed reviews for my book club. A lot of people thought it was a little bit slow. I didn't find that, but you know, if you're not into historical fiction, then maybe this is not for you, but I don't read a ton of historical fiction. This is a new genre to me, and I went through it pretty fast. This is Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. This is a part of a trilogy. I think the next one is Finders Keepers, and then I'm not sure what the third one is. I got the standalone Holly by Stephen King. Online it says that this book can be read by itself without reading the other books, but it spoils everything in the other books if you haven't read them yet. So I am going ahead and reading that trilogy first before reading Holly. She was my favorite character in Mr. Mercedes, so I'm excited to read her story. But back to Mr. Mercedes. This is about a retired detective who's being taunted by a serial killer that he never caught. This was another disturbing one. I would check the triggers for this book because there's some scenes and some language that can be disturbing or triggering to some people. Overall, I really liked the characters in this story, and Stephen King writes really good evil people. I also listened to part of this on audio, and the audiobook narrator did a fantastic job too. Then, like everybody else this month, I read Onyx Storm. I just need to say how pretty this edition is. It's a special edition. I pre-ordered it from Barnes & Noble. Books A Million is where I got it from. I'm just doing a little close-up. The dragons. And then the inside is Here's the inside. I read Fourth Wing for the first time a couple months ago, so it hasn't been that long, where I read Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame, and then this one came out not too long after. It was really nice that I actually took a while to read them because I didn't have to wait that long, but now I have to wait a really long time for 2 more books. And I can't wait to read the rest of them. Last, I did a reread of The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I forgot how good these books are. I read this in like a day and a half. I am rereading in honor of the new book coming out in March, and I did pre-order the box set of the special edition book series. I think it's already shipped, so I should be getting it any day now, and I'm very, very excited to get those because they're absolutely gorgeous. The only one I haven't read is Mockingjay, which I don't know why I never read it. I think I was scared because I knew who was like gonna make it and who wasn't. I was in middle school, starting high school, maybe 9th grade when the second book came out. But I did read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It came out in 2020. I did a reread of that when the movie came out last year. So I probably won't reread that one, but I will be rereading Catching Fire, doing a first time read of Mockingjay. Very excited about that. As always, we're gonna end on a current read. I am still reading Pucking Around by Emily Rath. It's been taking me a while. It's a really long book, but I haven't had a lot of time to physically read on my Kindle. I do like it. It's just a lot of spice. The other book that I'm reading, I am doing the audiobook for. It's called Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I just started it yesterday. Let's see where I'm at. I'm 26% in. It's about a bunch of beauty queens who are in a plane crash. They land on an island and then have to survive the wilderness. It's very funny, has a lot of satire and really interesting characters, so I'm excited to see where it goes. The new season of Yellow Jackets is coming out in a couple weeks, and I'm really excited for that, so I was looking for books that have a similar vibe or plot point. That's my reading wrap up for January. I'm very excited for February reads. I am going to Disney World on Sunday, so get ready for some Disney content. I will make it bookish related, so it'll be interesting. Bye, happy reading.